The massive alien ships appeared in Earth's solar system like dark metal mountains floating through space. They were enormous, bigger than anything humans had ever built. Admiral Kim Dae-ho stood on the bridge of his warship, watching the computer screens that counted the enemy vessels. There were hundreds of them, maybe thousands. His own fleet looked like toys compared to these giants. "Sir, we're getting a message from the aliens," said Park Min-ho, the communications officer. His hands shook as he worked the controls. The main screen lit up, showing a creature that looked like a nightmare. It had thick armor covering its body and several glowing eyes. When it spoke, the computer translated its words into Korean, then English. "Humans of Earth," the creature said in a voice like grinding metal. "I am War Commander Zekdar of the Galactic Union. Your planet is now under our control. You have 72 hours to surrender completely. Turn off all your weapons. Your leaders must come to us for processing. If you fight back, we will destroy every living thing on your world." The screen went black. Dae-ho felt his heart pounding. He had been a soldier for 20 years, but he had never seen anything like this. The alien fleet was so large that their ships blocked out the stars. Earth's entire military could not stop even one of those massive vessels. His personal communicator beeped. President Lee So-young's face appeared on the small screen. She looked tired and frightened. "Admiral Kim," she said quietly, "I've spoken with the military council and our allies. Everyone agrees that fighting would be suicide. We cannot win against such a force." Dae-ho nodded slowly. "What are your orders, Madam President?" "Stand down the fleet. Do not engage the enemy. We have to surrender." "Understood," Dae-ho replied. But as he spoke, he pressed a hidden button on his command chair. Throughout the ship, officers who had been waiting for this moment began to smile. "All ships," Dae-ho announced on the fleet-wide channel. "This is Admiral Kim. Begin protocol silence immediately." To anyone listening, it sounded like a surrender. Order. The alien ships detected human vessels powering down their weapons and engines. Earth's military broadcast stopped. The planet's satellites went quiet. On Earth, something incredible was happening. In every major city, people received text messages on their phones. "Operation Deep Earth begins now. Report to your assigned shelter immediately. Tell no one. Trust the plan." In Seoul, millions of people walked calmly into subway stations that led deeper underground than anyone knew. Hidden elevators took them down to levels that did not exist on any public map. These were not bomb shelters. They were underground cities that had been built in secret for 30 years. The same thing happened in New York, London, Tokyo, and every other major city. Families carried small bags and followed guides through hidden passages. Children asked questions, but parents told them it was just a drill. Dr. Choi Minesio stood in the Deep Earth Command Center, 8 kilometers below Seoul. The enormous room was filled with computers and screens showing every part of the planet. Around her, thousands of people worked at their stations, monitoring the greatest deception in human history. "Population transfer is 90% complete," reported one of her assistants. "The aliens are scanning our cities, but they only see empty buildings." "Good," Minesio replied. "What about the surface systems?" "All automated. The aliens will see a few lights, some normal energy readings, but no large-scale activity. To them, it will look like humans are hiding in their homes, waiting to surrender." Above ground, the alien ships moved closer to Earth. Their scanners showed a quiet planet with no military activity. The humans had clearly given up without a fight, just as the Galactic Union had expected. War Commander Zekdar stood in his command center, pleased with the easy victory. In his long career, he had conquered dozens of worlds. Some species fought bravely, but uselessly. Others tried to negotiate. Few had even attempted to flee to other star systems. But humans had done something he had never seen before. They had simply stopped fighting and gone silent. "It was almost disappointing," so reported his intelligence officer. "We're detecting minimal surface activity. Some power grids are still running, but no communications, no military signals. It appears the humans are waiting quietly for our arrival." "Excellent," Zekdar replied. "They understand their situation. Begin the occupation phase." Deploy ground forces to all major population centers. As the alien landing craft descended through Earth's atmosphere, their crews prepared for standard occupation duties. They would round up the humans, process them for work assignments, and begin strip mining the planet's resources. But 8 kilometers below the surface, Dr. Choi Minesio was watching different screens. These showed hidden weapon systems powering up across the globe, railguns disguised as mining equipment, missile silos that had been silent for decades, orbital defense platforms that looked like dead satellites. The aliens are in position, she announced to her command staff. All ground forces have landed. Your fleet is moving into atmospheric formation. General Park Hyun-woo smiled grimly. I think we've surrendered. They have no idea what's coming. The alien landing ships touched down in the empty streets of Seoul-like giant metal insects. Colonel Han Woo-jin stepped out of his transport vehicle, his boots making sharp sounds on the quiet pavement. He had conquered many worlds for the Galactic Union, but this one felt different. Too quiet, too easy. Sir, all landing zones report successful deployment, his aide announced, checking the glowing tablet in his hands. No resistance encountered. The humans appear to have evacuated their cities. Han looked around at the empty buildings. Cars sat abandoned in the streets. Traffic lights still blinked red and green, but no one was there to see them. Store windows showed lights inside, but the shops were empty. It was like walking through a movie set after all the actors had gone home. Send scouts to check the buildings, he ordered. I want to know where they went. His soldiers moved through the streets in small groups, their weapons ready. They kicked down doors and searched apartments, offices, and shops. Every building was the same, empty, but not destroyed. The humans had not fought. They had simply vanished. In New York, the same thing was happening.
No.
Colonel Vexmari walked through Times Square, her clawed feet clicking on the empty sidewalks.
Ow.
The giant screens on the buildings still showed advertisements, but there were no people to see them. Her soldiers reported finding food still warm in restaurants, computers still running in offices, but no humans anywhere. They must be hiding in their homes, she told her officers, waiting for us to find them. These creatures have no courage. But the homes were empty too. Beds were made, but no one slept in them. Kitchen tables had plates and cups, but no one ate from them. It was as if millions of people had simply walked away from their lives all at once. 8 kilometers below Seoul, Dr. Choi Minesio watched the alien movements on her screens. The massive underground command center was filled with the quiet hum of computers and the soft voices of technicians. Around her, thousands of people worked at their stations, coordinating the greatest trick in human history. Sector 7 reports alien scouts have entered the shopping district, announced one of her assistants. They're finding empty stores, but no signs of struggle. Perfect, Minesio replied. What about the residential areas? Same story. The aliens are confused, but not suspicious yet. They think humans are just hiding and waiting to surrender. Minesio smiled. The aliens had never encountered a species that would fake surrender as a war tactic. In their culture, when someone gave up, they meant it completely. They could not imagine that humans might lie about something so important. General Park Hyun-woo walked up to her station. The population transfer is complete. 4 billion people are now safely underground. The surface cities are completely empty. And our weapon systems? Hidden and waiting. The aliens have no idea what they're walking into. Above them, the alien soldiers continued their search. They had been trained to expect resistance, desperate fighting, or at least people begging for mercy. Instead, they found a world that seemed to have been abandoned in minutes. Colonel Han radioed his command ship. Ground control? This is unusual. We've searched 12 city blocks and found 0 humans. No bodies, no signs of fighting. Where did they go? The voice from the ship crackled through his helmet. Perhaps they fled to the countryside, or they're hiding in underground shelters. Keep searching. But Han was starting to feel worried. In his 20 years of conquest, he had never seen anything like this. Even the weakest species fought back a little. Even the most frightened civilizations left some trace of where they had gone. In the alien command ship floating above Earth, War Commander Zector, studied the reports from his ground forces. His intelligence officers had expected to find cowering humans ready for processing. Instead, they found ghost towns. "Sir," reported his chief analyst, "we're detecting some unusual energy readings from below ground. It could be underground bunkers or subway systems." "Of course," Zektar replied. "They're hiding like insects in tunnels. Send drilling teams to break through. We'll smoke them out." But the drilling teams found something strange. The tunnels they discovered were much larger than expected. Were not emergency shelters. They were complete underground cities with their own power systems, air recycling, and food production. The construction was advanced, clearly built over many years, sir, the drilling team leader reported. "These tunnels go very deep. They're not simple hiding places. This is sophisticated engineering." Zektar frowned. "How sophisticated?" "The tunnels connect different cities. They have their own transportation systems." "Sir, this looks like they've been planning this for decades." For the first time since arriving at Earth, Zektar felt a small doubt, but he pushed it away. Humans were primitive creatures. Even if they had built underground cities, they were still trapped. His fleet controlled the space around Earth. His ground forces controlled the surface. Whatever the humans were planning, it was too late. Dr. Choi Manesio looked at the clock on her wall. The aliens had been on the surface for 6 hours. Their ships were now in perfect position, spread across Earth's atmosphere in a tight formation. Confident in their easy victory. "All stations," she announced, "prepare for Phase 3. The aliens have taken the bait." War Commander Zektar stood in his command center watching the beautiful blue planet below. His massive fleet floated in Earth's atmosphere like a metal cloud, hundreds of ships spread across the sky. The humans had been silent for 12 hours now. It was time to begin the final phase. "All ships move into harvesting formation," he ordered. "Begin atmospheric processing of the major landmasses. Deploy the resource extraction platforms." His fleet moved closer together. The giant ships forming neat rose above Earth's continents. They had done this same formation on dozens of worlds. It was efficient and showed the conquered species that resistance was hopeless. "Sir, ground forces report they've found the underground tunnel systems," his communications officer announced. "The humans are hiding in deep shelters, but we can flush them out easily." Zektar nodded with satisfaction. "Good. Begin sealing the tunnel entrances. We'll force them to come out and surrender properly." That was when the Earth opened fire. The first shot came from what looked like a simple mining site in Australia. The aliens had scanned it and found nothing dangerous, just equipment for digging up rocks. But suddenly, the mining equipment lifted up on massive hydraulic arms and revealed itself as an electromagnetic rail. Cannon bigger than a skyscraper. The weapon fired with a sound like thunder. A projectile moving at incredible speed tore through the belly of the alien ship directly above it. It's the massive vessel, designed to withstand attacks from other spaceships, had no defense against a weapon fired from a planet's surface at point-blank range. "What was that?" Zektar shouted as alarms began blaring throughout his command center. Before anyone could answer, the second shot came from the mountains of Tibet. Another mining site revealed itself as a weapon platform. Then another shot from the Canadian wilderness. Then the Amazon rainforest and the Sahara Desert. All across Earth, things that had looked harmless were transforming into instruments of war. Old communication towers, extended weapon barrels, abandoned factories opened their roofs to reveal missile launchers. Even the ocean floor split open as underwater silos fired projectiles toward the alien fleet. Lieutenant Commander Shin the Jin sat in the Antarctic battle station 3 kilometers under the ice. Her station looked like a simple weather research facility from above, but below ground, it was one of the most powerful weapons platforms ever built. "Target acquired," she announced to her crew. "Alien command ship, bearing 270. All weapons, fire at will." The ice above them cracked and split as massive guns rose from hidden positions. The weapons had been installed over 20 years ago, disguised as equipment for studying the climate. Now they revealed their true purpose. Commander Zektar watched. In horror as his flagship's shields failed under the coordinated attack. How is this possible? They surrendered. Our scans showed no weapons. Sir, we're receiving reports from all sectors, his panicked aide reported. The entire planet is firing at us. Every continent, every major landmark. It's like the whole world is a weapon. The alien ships tried to return fire, but they were trapped in their tight formation. Their weapons were designed to bombard planets from safe distances, not to fight enemies directly below them. The human weapons fired from the surface.
Add perfect targeting.
While the aliens struggled to hit small targets on the ground, Dr. Choi Minesco watched the battle from her command. Centered deep underground. Screens showed weapon systems all across. Earth firing in perfect coordination. Sector 12 reports direct hit on alien carrier. Sector 7 has disabled their communications ship. All stations maintain fire discipline. The plan was working perfectly. For 30 years, humans had been preparing for this moment. Every major construction project had hidden a weapon. Every peaceful space station had been armed. Every abandoned military base had been quietly maintained and upgraded. The aliens had seen what they expected to see, a primitive species with simple technology. They had missed the hidden truth. Earth itself had become a fortress. Colonel Han Wuzhen stood in the ruins of Seoul, watching his transport ship burn in the sky above. The human weapons had targeted every alien vessel on the surface first, cutting off the ground forces from their fleet. Now he and his soldiers were trapped on a planet that had turned into their enemy. Sir, we're receiving emergency signals. From the fleet, his aide reported. They're requesting immediate evacuation, but our landing craft are destroyed. Han looked around at the empty city with new understanding. The humans had not fled in terror. They'd cleared the battlefield and gone to their battle stations. Every empty building, every quiet street was part of an elaborate trap. Send a message to any surviving ships, he ordered. Tell them the humans were never going to surrender. This was all planned. In space above Earth, the alien fleet was breaking apart. Ships that had seemed invincible were now burning metal, falling toward the planet's surface. The tight formation that had been their strength was now their weakness. They could not maneuver without crashing into each other. War. Commander Zektar realized with growing horror that his entire fleet was doomed. The humans had turned their planet into a weapon and waited for the perfect moment to spring their trap. His ships were too close to escape, too damaged to fight effectively. All vessels, emergency retreat, he broadcast on all frequencies. Break formation and climb to safe distance. But it was too late. The Earth was still firing. Admiral Kim Dae-ho climbed out of the underground bunker, where he had been hiding for 3 days. The Busan Deep Command Center was 8 kilometers below the ocean floor, connected to his hidden fleet by secret tunnels. Above him, the alien ships were burning in Earth's sky, but the battle was far from over. All vessels, this is Admiral Kim, he spoke into his communicator. Execute Operation Thunderstorm. Rise and strike. Across the solar system, human ships that had been silent and dark suddenly came to life. They had been hiding in asteroid fields, floating among space junk, powered down so completely that alien scanners had missed them. Now their engines roared to life, and weapons that had been cold for days began to glow with deadly energy. Captain Oh Seung-min sat in his stealth frigate, hidden inside a hollow asteroid near Mars. For 72 hours, he and his crew had waited in complete silence, breathing recycled air and eating cold food. They had watched the alien fleet pass. By so close, they could see the lights on the enemy ships. This is Captain O, he announced to his crew. Target the alien command ships. Hit their communication arrays first. We need to blind them before they can coordinate a response. His ship slipped out of the asteroid like a metal shark, its hull black and angular to avoid detection. Around him, dozens of other human vessels emerged from their hiding places. They had let the aliens think Earth's fleet was defeated, but the real fleet had been waiting in the darkness. The aliens had made a critical mistake. They had moved their entire fleet into Earth's atmosphere, thinking the planet was defenseless. Now they were trapped between the ground weapons below and the human fleet above. War Commander Zektar watched his tactical display in growing panic. Red dots appeared all around his fleet, human ships that had not been there moments before. His own vessels were damaged and scattered, their tight formation broken by the planet's weapons. "Yes, sir. We're being attacked from all sides." Shouted over the noise of explosions. "Human ships are everywhere." "Impossible," Zektar replied. "We destroyed their fleet days ago." "Sir, I don't think we destroyed anything. Our records show we hit empty ships, decoys. No, the real fleet was never there." Zektar felt his confidence crumble. The humans had not just hidden their people underground, they had hidden their entire military. Every battle plan, every strategy the Galactic Union had used was based on the assumption that they were fighting a primitive species that would panic and fight desperately instead. They were fighting an enemy that had spent decades preparing for this exact moment. Captain O's frigate moved through the alien formation like a ghost, its weapons targeting the large command ships. Each shot was perfectly aimed, hitting communication dishes, radar systems, and command centers. The aliens' superior numbers meant nothing if they could not talk to each other. "Direct hit on the alien flagship," reported his weapons officer. "Their communications are down." "Good. Move to the next target." Dr. Choi Minesio coordinated the surface weapons from her underground command center. On her screens, she could see the battle raging above. Earth's hidden weapons were still firing, but now they had to be careful not to hit the human ships that had joined the fight. "Sector 15 reports alien retreat in progress," announced one of her assistants. "Sector 22 shows enemy ships attempting to climb to higher orbit." "Let some of them go," Minesio ordered. "We need survivors to carry the message." This was the most important part of the plan. The humans did not want to destroy every alien ship. They wanted some to escape and tell the rest of the galaxy what had happened here. The message had to be clear. Earth was not a helpless planet that could be conquered easily. General Park Hyun-woo stood beside her, watching the tactical display. "The aliens are breaking formation. Their fleet is scattered and confused. Should we pursue?" "No," Minesio replied. "We've made our point. Let them run." In space above Earth, the alien fleet was falling apart. Ships that had looked invincible hours before were now burning metal, tumbling toward the planet's surface. The survivors were fleeing in every direction, their crews panicked and desperate to escape. Colonel Han Woo-jin watched from the ground as his command ship exploded in the sky above Seoul. He and his soldiers were trapped on Earth, cut off from their fleet. Around him, he could see human figures emerging from underground tunnels, carrying weapons and wearing the uniforms of Earth's military. "Sir," his aide whispered, "what do we do now?" Han looked at the approaching humans. They moved with discipline and purpose, not like frightened civilians, but like professional soldiers. He realized that everything his people had believed about humans was wrong. "We surrender," he said quietly, "and we hope they treat prisoners better than we would have treated them." Admiral Kim Dae-ho stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the last alien ships disappear into the darkness of space. The battle had lasted 18 hours, but the war was over. Earth had won, not through superior technology or numbers, but through patience, planning, and the ability to make their enemies underestimate them. "Sir," reported his communications officer, "we're receiving surrender signals from the remaining alien ground forces." "Accept their surrender," Dae-ho replied, "and send a message to the fleeing ships. Tell them to remember what they saw here." The message would spread across the galaxy. Earth was not prey. It was a predator that had learned to look helpless. The battle was over. 18 hours of fighting had left the alien fleet scattered across Earth's sky like broken toys. Admiral Kim Dae-ho stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the last enemy ships disappear into the darkness of space, but he was not celebrating. He knew the real war was just beginning. "Sir, should we pursue the fleeing ships?" asked his weapons officer, Lieutenant Park Ji-ho. "No," Dae-ho replied firmly. "Let them go. We need them to carry our message to the galaxy." Dr. Choi Manesio emerged from the underground command center for the first time in 4 days. The surface world looked different now. Seoul's streets were covered with pieces of alien ships that had crashed to Earth, but the buildings were still standing, and people were already coming out of the underground cities. She walked through the damaged streets, with General Park Hyun-oh, both of them looking up at the sky where the debris of the alien fleet still glowed like new stars. "Was it worth it?" Park asked, stepping over a piece of twisted metal that had once been part of an alien weapon. "The cost, the years of preparation, the risk of everything?" Manesio looked around at the destruction. Some buildings had been damaged by falling debris. Carefully maintained streets were cracked and broken, but the city was alive, and her people were safe. "Look at those ships running away," she said, pointing to the distant lights moving toward the edge of the solar system. "They're not just retreating, they're terrified. They came here expecting to find weak prey, and instead they found predators." The escaping alien ships were broadcasting on every frequency, sending desperate messages back to their home worlds. The communications that Earth's listening posts picked up told the story of their defeat. "Command, this is War Commander Zektar," came the panicked voice over the radio. "Earth mission has failed completely. The humans, ... they made their entire planet into a weapon. They are not the primitive species we thought. They are dangerous. Do not attack them." Another ship sent a different message. "The humans pretended to surrender, then destroyed our fleet. They hid their real military and waited for us to get close. This was not a battle. This was a trap 30 years in the making." Captain Oh Seung-min docked his stealth frigate at the hidden military base on the moon. He'd been fighting for 18 hours straight, and his ship was damaged but intact. As he walked through the station, he saw other human pilots who had survived the battle. "How many ships did we lose?" he asked the base commander. 12 frigates, 3 cruisers, and 1 destroyer," came the reply. "But we destroyed over 300 alien vessels. The enemy fleet is broken." Oh nodded. "The humans had won, but not because they were stronger. They had won because they were smarter, more patient, and better prepared. The aliens had underestimated them completely." On the surface of Earth, the cleanup was beginning. Colonel Han Woo-jin and his surviving soldiers had surrendered to human forces. They sat in a temporary prison camp, waiting to learn their fate. Han looked around at his captors. With new respect, "You fought well," he told the human guard, a young woman named Sergeant Kim Hae-jin. "We thought you were cowards who ran away, but you were warriors preparing for battle." "We learned something important," Hae-jin replied. "Sometimes the best way to win a fight is to make your enemy think you're already beaten." Dr. Choi Manesio sat in her rebuilt office, writing her report for the government. The plan had worked perfectly, but she knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy now knew that Earth was not an easy target, but that knowledge would bring new challenges. "The Galactic Union will not try to conquer us again," she wrote. "But they may try to destroy us instead. We must be ready for whatever comes." Next, 3 days after the battle, Earth received its first message from alien space. It was not from the Galactic Union, but from a different species altogether. "People of Earth," the message began, "we are the Centauri Alliance. We have heard of your victory over the Galactic Union. We wish to speak with you about trade and friendship." Admiral Kim Dae-ho smiled as he read the message. The galaxy was full of different species and different governments. Some were enemies, like the Galactic Union, but others might become allies. "Send a reply," he ordered. "Tell them we are interested in peaceful contact, but we will defend ourselves if threatened." The message that spread across the galaxy was simple and clear. Earth was no longer a helpless world waiting to be conquered. The humans had shown that they could be patient, clever, and deadly when necessary. Their silence had been mistaken for weakness, but it had really been the quiet before the storm. In the weeks that followed, other alien species began to contact Earth. Some wanted to trade. Others wanted to form alliances. A few sent warnings about other enemies in the galaxy. General Park Hyun-woo stood in his office, looking at a map of the galaxy dotted with the locations of different alien civilizations. "We're not alone anymore," he said to his staff. for better or worse, were part of something bigger now. The war was over, but Earth's real journey was just beginning. The galaxy had learned that humans were not prey. They were predators who had learned to look harmless, until the moment they struck, and that message would echo across the stars for generations to come.